Werewolf here! If Prince Andrew Cuomo had just followed his own social distancing mandate, he'd still be governor right now. And if he had just admitted the truth the first time, the state may have saved some money and time and resources. Then again, this is the state that leaves their lights burning on all night in the estate. Of course, this is really about deflecting attention from the COVID patients being sent to nursing homes, the Cuomo cost that Cuomo ordered. King Kong has done less damage to New York than Cuomo has. You know, this is the third time in over a decade that a state attorney general, Cuomo having been one before he was governor, has stepped down for very similar crimes. Eliot Spitzer, who was also governor in his day, and Eric Schneiderman, Attorney General. All of them Democrats, by the way. What does that tell you about the level of integrity within New York if the person in charge of enforcing the law is so corrupt and hypocritical? Spitzer then got a cozy job over at CNN, where Cuomo's brother Chris now works. And then there was Anthony Weiner. With a name like that, he should have known better. In 2014, Cuomo created the Women's Equality Party, only really so his name would appear on more lines on the ballots. This was also a way of advertising to show that he was supposedly pro-women, and also a way of displacing third-party candidates so there was no physical room left on the ballots. Yet he remains a popular governor. You see, a lot of New Yorkers are still attached to their Democrat base way of living and go through their day largely on autopilot. And to be fair, the state Republicans rarely offer any strong alternatives, and they do an equally horrible job of getting their message out. But if you stop for a moment to think, what did Cuomo really do? There's far more downward mobility in this once great state right now than there ever has been in our lifetimes. You know, his 2021 economic revival plan was largely based on legalizing gambling and weed. You know, I like how these so-called progressives base their policies on addiction which disproportionately hurts the poor, the working, and the middle class, the ones that they pretend to care so much about. Then Cuomo gave himself a 40% raise. You know, your business was shut down, maybe you weren't allowed to go to work, but you still had to pay New York State taxes to substantiate that raise. There was bail reform, not necessarily a bad thing, except for a snafu in the way the bill was written, which let violent offenders out in the streets. At a time when people were antsy from lockdowns, being forced to wear face masks, which obscured their identities, and the police were told to stand down. So this once great city that is New York is beginning to look a lot closer to hell on earth. There was the rent moratorium, there was the illegal street signs that New York was fined by the federal government for violating some obscure regulations, but Cuomo insisted on keeping up, hubris at work, and his brother Fredo, Chris Cuomo, saying that he had COVID while posing for selfies at the gym in his basement. There was the Ground Zero Mosque, among many other things. You know, you can go to a third world country where most people never travel more than 10 miles from where they were born, and if there's one city in the U.S. that they could name, chances are that's going to be New York. You know, we're a beacon to the world. Can't we do better? And we should be doing better. Well, until next time, life, liberty, and